and investing into altcoins is investing into stocks of different companies. But additionally, there was mentioned that Bitcoin has a limited supply of $21 million, and unlike US dollar, which has unlimited supply, and we see so much money printing. But in reality, the same is happening now in crypto industry too, and the market is flooded with excessive amounts of money, and a lot of crypto projects as well create this money out of thin air. So you can just launch your token, claim that it has value, pay advisors, pay influencers in this token. Some people will use it, some people may dump it. So it's as well some kind of depends on the adoption of this or that project.
You know, I think one of the reasons why the average person who doesn't really know a lot about this space hasn't invested in Bitcoin is you look at the price, right? And it seems so out of reach, especially for the average person. And so I think that a lot of the other tokens and cryptocurrencies that have emerged, especially in the last year, they seem very attractive, right? Some of them are less than a penny, and all of a sudden they can have a 1,000,000% appreciation very, very quickly. So I want to ask you a little bit about just navigating the space, especially for people who are new, who really want to make a profit. You know, how do they do their research? Can you give them any tips?
I think right now the matter of the fact that there's so many people trying to sell you so many coins, it's a jungle out there, right? Having said that, there are institutions such as Harvard, Princeton, who are putting their education online. A16Z, for example, is a place where you can go and learn about it more and more. Specifically speaking, I'd ask people to educate themselves. It's a very important aspect. We treat these cryptocurrency investments slightly different in our head, unfortunately, than we would buying a company or buying shares in stocks. You would never buy shares in stocks in a company that you've never heard about, right? So it's very important for you to actually check the fundamentals. What do we mean by checking the fundamentals? Ali made a great point. We back people. Even in Crypto Oasis Ascension, we look for great people. Find out who the team is behind them, right? These teams, most of the time, you can reach out to them, depending on where they are in the world. Telegram is the communication platform for the crypto industry. You can join any Telegram group. Find out about the team that is actually supporting it. Then find out how are they funded? Where's their money coming from? The beauty of this market that we deal with is it's completely transparent and open, right? You can see the demand, and you can see the supply, and you can see what we call as the liquidity, or the total volume around, right? And now, slowly but surely, there are great projects emerging. Like, for example, Ivi.io is a company that is a cryptocurrency ratings agency, right? They apply A to F ratings to cryptocurrencies out there, and they look at it from a data point of view, right? I think a lot of ratings, as we know them today, is broken because someone gets paid to rate. What they do, they've implemented a completely data-driven artificial intelligence methodology that actually helps you rate. But I think, and I've said it a couple of times now, read the trusted sources. It's very important.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I think you brought up some really good points. I think there's a couple of things when you look at data, right? So first, when you look at these projects, so first is team, second is data. And so you mentioned some different sources. You can also check out, for example, rankings like DApp Radar, for example. There's like DeFi calls, etc., which will tell you like how many users do they have. So which I think is very important if you can figure out daily active users. And this data set can actually oftentimes be better than traditional companies because it's actually real time on chain. So it's actually very, very accurate for the most part. So looking at this sort of thing will help you differentiate between who has real users versus speculators, which is a big problem in our industry in general. And then you can also look at sites like Lunar Crush. We're actually one of the first investors in it as well. They're one of the most popular tools in the industry for discovering new projects. We analyze 4 million social media messages a day with natural language processing. Very good tool if you want to actually understand these projects from a data perspective, and it's all free as well.
So look, I can empathize with that question because I'm probably the only one that 3 years ago I didn't have any cryptocurrency. My first exposure, actually, because I'm actually a risk-averse person, was via listed products. There's a lot of institutions now that are setting up funds, regulated funds. So those funds have consumer protections. I'm not a fan of intermediation, but for people who are new to crypto, who want to get exposure to mainstream tokens like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, these have already been validated and vetted by somebody else. And you can just go to your interactive brokers platform, it's listed, it's been validated, so that's probably a safer way to start, because the stuff that these guys are talking about, I've only just opened up my own wallets, MetaMask, about 6 months ago. God, it's a headache, right? You've really got to come up to speed. There's so much to learn. And if you actually have a day job doing something else, good luck to you trying to come up to speed. So it's better to offload to professionals like Saka and Ali to do it for you. Or if you're even more risk averse, just go with the exchange traded products listed on your exchanges. And that's probably a safer way to get your first taste of crypto. That's how I started.
There's a lot of good advices here. Since we're running out of time, I'll just add one thing, which is start small. Since you are reading, you are researching, you are analyzing, hopefully from trusted sources, make sure also you will start small until you will understand the whole world fully. And I think all of us, we keep there, right?
I consider that everything depends on your risk appetite, and as well you should invest the amount of money which you can afford to lose, and better to not to run for rich quick schemes, but seize a long-term gain. And if you're risk averse, it's probably Bitcoin and Ethereum will be the best bet for you. If you can afford to diversify your portfolio, and it's the best thing, you can try investing into different top 50, top 100 altcoins, and I think it's as well quite safe because they already listed on some big exchanges, so these are verified projects which can give good returns.
I think that's such great advice, and it's important for everyone to remember it does start with baby steps, right? Just like with anything else, these events are great for educational purposes. There's so much information online, and it's amazing to learn from experts like you. So just to start to wrap up, I want to know, what's the question on all of your minds? What are you thinking about and wondering in terms of the future of this space? What are you wanting to know?
I think that's a very, very good question, and one that one should reflect on. If there's one parting thought that I'd like to leave with the audience, is right now everything pretty much is at a price that we've not seen before, right? This is a very high market right now, so proceed with caution, proceed with education. I firmly believe, I've been wrong before, but I firmly believe that this time will be different. This time, institutional adoption. We have players like HSBC, Banco Santander, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan Chase. Every single bank has set up a cryptocurrency trading desk. 87% of countries around the world, the UAE being one of them, is exploring central bank digital currencies, right? So it is a very different world, but keep in mind, just March 2020, Bitcoin was at $3,700. Is it very far-fetched that we could go back to it? It's not. Personally, I hope we won't, right? But, educate yourself and proceed with caution.
I would buy a lot more if it did.
To add on to that, I do think it is different this time, right? I mean, I've been in discussions with Fortune 500 execs for 5+ years, and now this sector is just completely different. I mean, the amount that we're seeing, even in terms of interest into companies of ours, we're seeing token investments being made by Fortune 500 companies. These are things that have not happened before, and I can't go into a lot of details. Some of it is confidential, but you will start to see a lot of this starting to come out, and even interest in funds in this space, etc., from major corporates it has not been seen, or institutionals has not been seen before. So I think that is exciting. I think the way that I look at it